Hi, everyone. As people are coming in, we're just going to give it a few minutes to get started. Again, welcome, everyone. We're just giving it a few minutes to let people file in. Start in about another minute or two, just letting the last few people come in. I think we're going to get started. Welcome to our honors family session. We're so happy to have you join us tonight. We're going to start with introductions, and then we will kind of get through the content. And I wanted to state that we have Q&A available at the end where we'll take all questions. We can answer the ones that you have remaining, but we also will have Q&A going throughout. What we do is we welcome you to put that in the Q&A sections and not the chat, but to try to keep your questions about the slide or slides that you just saw, because we may answer your question if later in the slides. So try to keep it on topic a little bit. And then if your question wasn't answered when we got to that slide on that theme, feel free to put it in the Q&A and we'll answer it, or you can save all of it to the end, either way. But my name is Jacqueline Coppell. I am the Associate Dean of the Honors College, and I'm also an Honors alumna. And I teach history and product development. So I teach in our Dyson School and our Seidenberg School. And my cohort of advisees are the Seidenbergs, that's the computer science students on the New York City campus. And I also do University 101. So I will now pass it to Bill.
Hi, excuse me. Hi, I'm Bill. Say hi, Bill. I know I can't hear you, but I still like to do that. I am a professor of American history here at Pace. I've been with honors in a variety of capacities for the last 24 years. Currently, I am the faculty advisor and in charge of curriculum. I teach for honors freshmen in pedagogy you'll hear a little more about later, called Reacting to the Past. I also teach University 101, which is our freshman seminars, and I'll throw it to Mohini.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. My name is Mohini Gobin. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Associate Director of the Honors College. My role is by campus, but I'm based in the New York City campus. I'm also an honors alumna, graduated from the New York City campus, and I also have a degree from the Pleasantville campus, which is kind of cool. I advise the students who are within the sciences, psychology, that also include like environmental studies and some of the undecided students as well. And I teach in the psychology department in addition to University 101. I will pass it to Tyler.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tyler Thier. I am the honors thesis advisor. I'm brand new to PACE. I believe my cohort is just everyone. And I'm a bi-campus employee, but based in New York City. And I will throw it over to Nori.
Hello, I'm Nori Barnes. My pronouns are they, them. I am an academic and success advisor here on the Pleasantville campus. I am a PACE alum, not an honors alum, but I've been at PACE for a very long time. I played basketball here as a student, graduated with a bachelor's in nursing, and now I recently just had my master's and graduated my master's, my MBA from Leuven. So my cohorts are those CHP, which has health sciences, all your pre-med, pre-nursing, all that good stuff, and then also the nursing program, as well as the Leuven School and all the things that go under the Leuven Business Program. I'm so happy to have you here tonight, and I'll pass it to Justin.
Hey everyone, my name is Justin Ritchie. I'm an academic advisor here. My cohorts are the School of Education, and then also a lot of the kind of Dyson social studies, so peace and justice and poli-sci and things of that nature. I teach University 101 or teach one of the University 101 sections here on campus. And I also supervise the Honors Advisory Board, which is a kind of leadership practice and internship organization that is run by the Honors College. And it's a great opportunity for incoming students to get involved in. And I will pass it to Flora.
Hi everyone, my name is Flora. I work in the New York City campus. I am the mentoring coordinator for New York City, and my my academic cohort for advising is all of the Stans College of Performing Arts majors. So acting, directing, commercial dance, stage management, musical theater, production design, everything performing arts related. So welcome, and I will send it over to Emma.
Hi everyone, my name is Emma Kleinberg-Orlick. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am an academic and success advisor on the New York City campus. I advise all of the Dyson creative majors, so anything like art, communications, English, film and screen studies, that is my cohort. And I also teach UMP 101, the freshman seminar class. I'll be teaching in the fall, so look forward to having you all.
We have a few members of our team missing. I'll talk about them in a second when we get to that slide. So before I share my screen and you lose this kind of view, I'll have Juanita introduce herself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Juanita Maya. I am the Assistant Director of Undergraduate Admission and Recruitment on PACE's New York City campus. I'm also an alumna of the university, and my territories are Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Staten Island, and I am the honors liaison, so any honors-related questions, you can feel free to come with me, and I'll guide you guys to the correct person.
So I'm going to start sharing my screen, and we'll go through it, and then I'll sort of introduce you to our missing staff members. So as I said, again, if you're joining us a little bit late, welcome to our honors family session. And this picture here is actually from our welcome week last year in New York City. These are all of our incoming freshmen and all of their mentors. And Mohini's going to talk to you a little bit about that later. And our interim provost in the front there hiding, looks like a student. So as we all just introduced ourselves, there were a couple people missing, so I will kind of talk about them right now. So we have Taylor Powers, our senior honors advisor. She is based in the Pleasantville campus, and she works with the Dyson students, that's our humanities students, our Seidenberg students, that's the computer science students, and she has the School of Education in Pleasantville. And we have also one of our last by campus staff, we have Michelle, she's our staff assistant. And then we have Shadman Rahman, and he is based in the New York City campus, and he works with our Leuven, which are business students, and our economic students, and our math students. And Shad is also an honors alum, and he's not here tonight because he's in grad school. So he's working on that double PACE degree right now. So, and I'll pass over to Bill.
Okay. Okay. So I'm here to explain what honors is all about in an academic sense. And the first thing I thought you'd need to know about honors is a comic strip. So you may recognize the artist here. This is Matt Groening before he went on to fame and fortune in The Simpsons. If the students in the audience don't remember The Simpsons, I'm sure their parents do. Matt decided back in the 80s to show everyone the 9 types of college teachers. And since I am a college teacher, I thought I'd let you know that I am in one of these boxes. So I'm not going to ask you to do this with chat because it probably doesn't work. But here, just to give you a consumer protection view of the academia, you could get a steady droner, a disdainful teaching assistant, a mighty famous big shot, a beloved babbling grandpa with tenure, the genius from another dimension, old gloom and doom, the single theory to explain everything maniac, the incomprehensible brilliant foreigner, or a nice little nobody. So at this point in person, I would ask people to raise their hands and to indicate which one of these 9 boxes do I self-identify with as an American history professor. And I would pause, and then some confident parent usually would raise the hand and say, beloved babbling grandpa with tenure. And I would say, no. I am actually a single theory to explain everything maniac. And all my history classes and all my teaching in general is organized around big themes and big ways of doing things. And I give you all this information at the start because we want you to know that honors is different. You may have been in an honors program in high school. You may have been in AP or IB, where all you did was more work, harder work. Honors is different work. We have a different attitude and a different approach to our academic life. The other thing to note is honors is not going to add on any additional classes. Everything that you take for honors will count for some part of your degree that you would already be needing, whether it was what we call the core curriculum or for your major. So understand that honors is a way of seeing things, a way of doing things that is different. And one of the differences is you'll get to pick your teachers. You'll get to pick the professors. My kids went to high school. They may have been able to choose what level course they want or what language they want. They never got to pick the teacher. Here, you need to know you will pick your classes, and you will, if you don't like the professor, you will move, and we will help you. So that's just an overview of the professoriate. On to some of what honors does in specifics. Next. So in the upper left, you see Nori with the graduate. In the middle, you see one of our app makers and his game there. These people graduate from honors by having an overall grade point average of 3.3. That's a B+ overall. We don't look at a particular class. We look at their general grade point average. Second thing you need to have 8 honors experiences per your time at Pace, with, if they are classes, a minimum of a B- in each class. Do not go to Sealand. Sealand is an amusement park outside San Diego, and they torture whales. So 8 honors experiences mean you're looking for 2 per year. For the most part at the beginning, those will be courses, and you will get to select your courses from a variety, a menu of potential options. And every semester, there will be a new list, and you choose. So we serve all academic majors. We serve business majors, we serve pre-med majors, we serve performing arts majors, we even serve history majors, if any of you are out there. And the third thing we want you to note is that we want you to do your best work and to show it off at the end of your college experience. So we want each student to do an honors thesis, a senior project, which could be a traditional research paper, or it could be a creative thesis where you write or perform plays, films, make an app like this gentleman here with Burgermancer. Ooh, I want to play that. I just went to Burger King. Anyway, or anything else, an exhibit, an art exhibit, any of these things that will show off your best work as an undergraduate, and then you will present it to an appreciative audience. You will work closely with a faculty advisor. So each individual student chooses their own topic and chooses their own advisor and creates something unique, different, special, and that caps their honors career. So that's what you do in general. Next. I want to give you a little picture of the classes. In fact, we have 6 pictures of the classes here. Okay, honors has, especially for freshmen, what are called learning communities. Learning communities are 2 courses wrapped around a single theme from different disciplines, say English and history. You see in the center bars, one, yes, thank you for the arrow, one participant in a reacting to the past game getting beheaded. This was from the Henry VIII game. Reacting to the past is a pedagogy where students are dropped into with roles and documents and the choices of people, in this case, in about 1534, and then their characters try to maneuver through history to achieve their personal objectives and win the game. That's why we play, to win the game. So a little less gruesome in the right hand of the execution there, I think that was Thomas More, that is from a game set in Greenwich Village, and here you see the feminist suffragettes trying to organize people to work for women's voting rights. What you see also is that we have individual classes. So in your upper right-hand corner, so those are learning communities, by the way. And learning communities can also involve 2 different subjects of various different things. For instance, Jackie teaches in a classical civilization course for a learning community in the first semester, but the second semester, up in the upper right-hand corner, we talk about going to ancient Egypt, and there's her class at the Metropolitan Museum. To the left of Jackie is someone presenting their thesis. Down at the bottom, you see one of our nursing students. And over on the right is, I'm not exactly certain what they're doing, but it's undoubtedly very important. So what we have here is a list of things that you can do to get honors credit. Taking academic courses exclusively just for honors students or together with the other mainstream, you're taking an average of 1 per semester, when in this semester you're taking 4 or 5 courses a term. We choose the professors, but you also get a chance to earn honors credit through service to honors and through travel, through study abroad, and through internships. We encourage you to do all these sorts of things while you are honors students. And so you get more intense work, but not more work, different work, better work, interesting topics, and real-world experience. So I will now turn it over. If someone can identify the lower right-hand
That's what I
corner.
was gonna do. Yeah, so for that real world experience, this is actually my Egypt class. That one's my classic civ.
Oh, it was classic civ.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's classic civ. So that's my fall class. That's part of our learning community at the Met. And then this is my Egypt class in the spring, and it looks a little weird, but we are actually, they're all in a VR experience. And they, doesn't look like it to you, the audience, but they're all actually inside the pyramids. So it was the Horizon of Khufu, so they got to experience the pyramids from inside and above, and as if they were actually in Egypt. So that's that kind of real world experience and that different kind of way of looking at things. And it was really cool to take my students there.
Okay, thank you for making up for my misunderstanding. Anyway, on to Mohini and advising.
Yes, so a big part of the honors experience does come from advising because we all build really close connections with all of our students throughout their experience. So the way it works is that every honors student gets an honors advisor, which is based in the student's primary major. And if the student changes their major, whether it be over the summer or during any of the semesters, that's perfectly fine. What we do is we work together to make sure that transition from, let's say, one major, let's say I have a student who is a science student, a biology student, they realize that's not the best science for them and they want to go over to computer science. I just walk them over. Actually, often I go to Jackie's office and I'm like, Jackie, can you join us for a conversation? And we talk to the student together to make sure that they feel comfortable. So besides SANS, all of our honor students don't have a school advisor. Our SANS students still have a school advisor, which is usually their program head, just to make sure they have that connection based off the community that's built there. And for the types of advising, we do lots of things. So you can see this list here. We create 4-year or 3-year plans, especially because a lot of our students come in with transfer credits, whether that's from APs, dual enrollment, IBs, all of that. And we talk a lot more about that later on in like the next steps. But essentially, we help you figure out when you can graduate, what majors and minors you want to do. There are sometimes certain restrictions that we keep in mind. Let's say if you're in SANS, you have to be there for 4 years, things like that, that we just take it all together and we get your feedback and we create that plan of what works best for you. We help with picking courses during registration season. We're just about to start that tomorrow, actually, so we're gearing up for that. We do personal advising, and so that can range from just kind of talking about what's going on in your life. We know that that transition from high school to college can be difficult. And so, you know, whether it is talking about friendships you're losing from home or just a relationship problem that might be going on or roommate issues that might be going on, we're here to help support with that. We also help with grad school, including pre-med. I advise the pre-med and pre-health students. Bill helps with the students who are interested in law school. We also help with prestigious scholarships, which we'll talk about later, internships, study abroad, outside opportunities, research, whether that's for your thesis or not for your thesis. And a big thing of what we do is navigate PACE's bureaucracy. We want to make sure that you know that you can always come to us if you have any questions along the way. What we usually try to do is if you have a question about a particular department, instead of sending you to that department, we want to send you to the best person to answer your question rather than have you go and do a little bit of a runaround. So that is a big part of what we do. A lot of us on this team have worked in different offices as well. And so we make sure that we utilize those connections to help benefit you get that answer as soon as possible. And then we also do audits because we want to make sure not just, you know, take classes that you enjoy. We want to make sure that you graduate on time and that everything works out well for your experiences. So in these pictures, we have some pictures from kind of different stages, but most of them relate to graduation. In the top corner, we have Taylor, who's our advisor, who couldn't be here today, and she's with one of her graduating honor students. Then right next to that, we have from a thesis presentation where Ashvin actually, that's his Muppet. He had a thing called the Ashvin Show. And so it was really nice that our thesis advisor at that time, Jackie and I was able to go and support it. It was really awesome to see that creativity and passion that he had manifest in this show. Then right below it, we have Jackie with Shahab. Shahab is one of our students who started at, I believe, 13 years old. He applied when I think he was 12, which that was a super, really interesting, cool thing that we had to be able to support him. And now he's in law school. And then we have Bill once again here at our award ceremony, where once again, we want to celebrate our students and what they do. So that's part of our advising experience.
Okay, so housing. So all of our honor students who choose to reside on campus must live on the honors floor for their first year. So just to clarify that, if you are choosing to commute, you can still commute. We're not requiring you to live on campus, but if you are living on campus for your first year, you do need to live on the honors floors. And I'll talk about why in a second. But first, let me kind of run through those floors. So New York City, we have 15 Beekman. It is the brand new building. It opened last year. And we have anywhere from 3 to 4 floors on that in that building. Usually on the upper floors this year, it was like 23, 22, 21, and 20. So the views are absolutely spectacular. For our upperclassmen, for those that choose to reside in honors housing after their first year, It is not mandatory, but many of our students who loved their first year experience want to continue with their honors roommates or other people they met on their floor. So they'll choose to live in honors housing as an upperclassman. And that's in 33 Beekman, which is basically right across the street from 15. And both buildings are across the street from One Piece Plaza, which is our main building. And for Pleasantville, we have all of our freshmen, regardless if they're honors or not, live in Alumni Hall. But our honor students have a special section of Alumni Hall. It's called, basically you're in a FIG, first year interest group, and you have an honors lounge. And if students want to continue to live in honors housing after their first year in Pleasantville, they can do so in Elm Hall. So why do we have our honor students live together? Well, we've been doing this for a very long time now, and we have found that it is a much better experience. When I first started well over a decade ago, we did not require it. It was optional, and students who lived on the honors floors loved it. They had loved their honors roommates. They stayed friends with them. They wanted to continue to live with them on or off campus. We had less roommate conflicts. And the students who chose to live not with honors roommates, not on the honors floor, it was usually a struggle of a year. And at the end of the year, every year, we'd ask, hey, what would you do differently about your freshman year? And the students who chose to not live in honors housing said they would do that over again and live on the honors floors. We also, honor students are very similar. You guys often have similar interests and hobbies, and it makes bonding on the floor really easy. And you'll be in almost all the same classes. You'll have a lot of similar schedules. You'll be in learning communities and some of the standalone classes together. So you're going to be bonding inside the classroom and out, and that's a great way to make friendships. And you're going to have an honors resident advisor. That's also known as an RA. And this is an upper class student who we've worked with housing to handpick these students. And they are there to kind of help the transition, tell you about their honors experience, and look out for you. And it really feels like a family and a community on the honors floors. And that's really important because otherwise they kind of feel apartment style and you don't really get to meet people and it's a little isolating. This feels like one big community and family. And Mohini, when Mohini was an honors student, she lived on the honors floor her freshman year, and her honors roommates actually are in her bridal party. She's getting married this year, and one of her roommates is her maid of honor. And so she chose honors random, which means we could match her with any honors student that sort of seemed like a fit. And here they are all these years later, and they were such a fit. We've also have several honors couples at this point. We just had 2 former honor students get married, and in their vows, they said they talked about meeting on the honors floor. And so it is this really special thing. We have priority placement. So what that means is in the regular process once you're here for a year, usually honor students, if they want to continue to live on honors floors, they will actually register for their housing first and work with housing directly. For the first year, honors actually places the students ourselves. So we have a separate housing process, which you'll start to find out about, with different deadlines and kind of different steps. So we have our students match after orientation. You can choose to match before, but we have honors orientation, which Emma will talk about later. So most of our students will be meeting up at honors orientation and then can choose a match. And we do that instead of having the matches due before orientation. So that way you may kind of mesh with somebody through Instagram or like emails, but when you meet them in person, they may be different. So this way you get to meet a lot of people in person and then figure out who's the best fit and do that placement. And then I work with housing and what you all have told us in your questionnaires to do those placements, to figure out students who are similar together, try to honor your requests and do the placements ourselves. We have different honors floor events. They change every year based on what our RAs want. And we move in early. So we move in during Welcome Week, which Mohini's going to talk about in a little bit, but you'll move in a whole week earlier, which makes your life a lot easier during the move-in process. for bins and everything else, and we'll be there to support that move-in process as well. And this is Carly, one of our honors students, sophomore now, and she's a second generation honor student. Her sister was an honor student and graduated as well. So this was her in her room when she got to see it. So Laura will talk to you now about mentoring.
Yes, so as I mentioned before, I am the mentoring coordinator for the New York City campus. The mentoring program is an opportunity for us to connect upperclassmen, matching them with our freshman class. So every freshman student is matched with a rising sophomore, junior, or senior within Honors College, usually matching based on their major, but it can also be matched based on their interest or any of their hobbies. This matching, a mentor-mentee match, will guide them through the first year of your experience here with PACE and with honors. The mentoring program is just an opportunity for you to get your foot in the door with PACE, with honors, get an idea of the bureaucracy of it all, any opportunities that the university or honors has to offer in terms of internships, job searches, academic recommendations, any connections with faculty that may be doing cool research, and any other outside resources that we can help plug you in through as part of the mentoring program. We will be sending out pretty soon a questionnaire for mentoring. This questionnaire is going to help us gather information based on what your interests are, what your own hobbies are, as well as if you have any preferences on what type of match you would like. So this is where we can match you within your specific school, within your major, or just with your interests. We have had many students that have decided or have chosen to be matched with a mentor that's outside of their school just to get a different experience on what they will be already involved with as part of their major. You will be receiving correspondence, I want to say within the next month or so leading into the summer. And the mentoring program is going to start effectively, the match for you effectively in the summer. So this mentoring relationship is going to carry you through the summer as you work on gathering any just last minute documentation, paperwork, any correspondence that you need as part of the onboarding process within PACE and within honors to give you that kind of support into the summertime. And then it'll guide you into the fall semester within your first semester to just get adjusted again with the PACE community, with honors, with the community outside of PACE as well. And then into the spring semester. So now that you've gotten your feet wet in PACE and within honors, just to give you a little bit of an idea of what the spring semester and what your future rising sophomore year is going to look like. So please do keep an eye out for the questionnaire. We look forward to reading them, and we look forward to matching you with a mentor. Any questions that you have, any advice that you have, anything that you need that can be facilitated through the mentoring program with your mentor, / with myself as the mentoring coordinator for the New York City campus. Taylor, who is not in today, is the mentoring coordinator for the Pleasantville campus. So if there's anyone here today within Pleasantville, you're welcome to contact Taylor or myself just for general questions, but Taylor specifically for any correspondence for the Pleasantville mentoring program. I want to give an estimate of around beginning of June, the first couple of months of June, we will have the matches already set up. So we look forward to speaking to you, and let me know if you have any questions throughout this time or just just in general. I look forward to chatting with you.
So ideally, you'll have your match for orientation. So they start a little earlier in New York City, which Emma will talk about in a bit, but you should have your match for orientation. The picture on the slide is actually is our New York City and our Pleasantville mentors from this past year at mentor training. And the picture Bill was talking about where you saw the burger arcade game, that's Falco. And Falco is a great example of our success of our mentoring program. He got his job on campus when he was a student through his mentor, who we call Tall Kyle. And then that led to a job for Falco down the line. So we have a lot of examples of that. Mohini as well when she was a student, got her research opportunity from her mentor. So you'll also get to meet your mentors at Welcome Week, which Mohini will talk about.
Yes, so Welcome Week is one of those required experiences for our honor students where they're able to move in early. These are the dates of our Welcome Week, so you can kind of see the day. It's similar but slightly different for each campus. So in New York City, we start on Wednesday, August 27th to Saturday, August 30th. And then in Pleasantville, they start on Thursday, August 28th to the Saturday, the 30th. So essentially what happens here is if you're living in the residence halls, you get to move in early, settle in before everyone else, get to know people on your floor. And we have different activities planned during the week. If you are a commuter, you still participate in Welcome Week. You'll just practice commuting, and that usually helps in making the adjustment a little bit easier before you start classes. So with the different activities, we have bonding activities. That first picture at the top is one of the human bingo games. I believe that's from our Pleasantville campus. So that's a great way for students to meet one another at the beginning when it might be hard to figure out how to start conversation. Then we have information sessions. We want to make sure that you have sort of the ins and outs of your degree, your major, PACE in general from our mentors and from other great connections at PACE. At the bottom picture is actually FTVC table from SAN students where they're just kind of talking with their mentors about some of that information. We also do University 101 time. So University 101, because it's a class you'll meet every week with your advisor and with the same amount of students, we want you to start making those connections. And so you'll have a little bit of a time to start make those connections. It's kind of the like how to college class. And so it's a nice way to start creating bonds. And then we do tours of PACE for New York City. We do tours of the city. In the middle, I believe that's from Central Park, where the mentors led a group of many mentees around Central Park and took a little cute group picture there. And you can really get to know your mentors in a casual setting before classes start, and really just helps with the smooth transition. We've had so many students and parents actually talk about how Welcome Week has been so beneficial because it allows you to get to know your surroundings, especially if you're not from New York City, without worrying about, okay, where do I find my class, which is something we also do during Welcome Week.
So what else could we offer you? We offer you housing, mentor, Welcome Week, right? So the additional perks to being in honors. One of them, and you've heard this a bunch of times already, are the internships. Our internships are pivotal to our students because it gets them out into the world to kind of understand and build those skills that they're learning in class, right? And most of our internships, what I'm proud to say, are given to our students or passed down to our students from current honor students. So their mentors are passing them down internships, or the advisors, knowing our students so well, are setting them up with networks and jobs because we know they'd be really good for it. And that is a part of knowing our students really well and building that community. Another perk for the Honors College is the priority registration for classes. Honors students register about 2 days before the mainstream students do. And we also meet with our students earlier so we can get you guys into priority classes. So some of that anxiety of thinking that you might not get any classes kind of goes away because you guys register first, okay? We have a multitude of events that we go with our students. We have movie nights, Broadway shows, apple pumpkin picking. You'll see that in the picture, we have students who are standing in front of the stewards apple picking, students playing Monopoly, and then one of our students, Ella, holding up a bagel. We have Bagel Mondays here on the Pleasantville campus. We like to break bread with our students that helps build community, right? We sit there, we talk to our students, we kind of ask them how their day is going, because it takes away from that whole I'm an advisor, you're an advisee kind of thing. We're both human beings, we sit down, we talk, and I get to know you a little better. Another perk is you get a minimum of $15,000 scholarship for being accepted into the Honors College. You also can apply for up to $1,000 for research for your thesis. You saw the picture before with the Burgermancer video game. That was one of our students, Falco. He used his research money to build that game. He actually built two. We have it in our office, and it was part of his thesis. Another perk is a special research and travel opportunities in Pleasantville. We actually share the space with a study abroad. So if you're thinking of traveling, you can go see them and we'll talk to them about travel abroad opportunities. We have two lounges, one in NYC and one in Pleasantville. Because the city never sleeps, the one in NYC is open 24/7. The one in Pleasantville is open during normal business hours. Within our lounges, you can find coffee, tea, food, hang out with your advisors, get to know, play games. We usually just have a space for you. We like to say it's a safe space to land. If you just want to kick back and you're a commuter and you don't want to hang out in your car all day, you can come hang out in the lounge and hang out with us. We have leadership opportunities. I talked about that with the internships. We want to get our students in spaces that will hone those leadership opportunities, right? So we have alumni, we have Career Services Center. We also know our network of professors that are giving our students opportunities because they know honor students are hard workers, right? And so we want to give you guys a perk for being hard workers. You also have the honors distinction, which you earn once you completed all your honors requirements. You'll have it on your transcript. It'll also be in the commencement book, your honors medallion, which you wear at graduation, and our honors graduation, where we give you your certificate. Honors is a community that we hone through all these different perks, but we spend a lot of time together getting to know our students and we building this community because we like to say we're family. Right?
And just to add on for that family, we like to say that honors is for life. It's not just for the 4 years. And as you heard me say from Mike Mohini, still has her honors friends, as do all many of us who are honors grads. And we're invited to the baby showers, the birthday parties, and the weddings and everything in between. And we're still here for each other. And I love that. I still go and see my students, former students in DC and other places. And anytime they come into the city too, they could kind of reach out to us. And so I love that that doesn't kind of end, that it's just now for the rest of your lives. We get to have that bond from advisors to students and students to students. So Mohini's going to tell us about some accomplishments.
Yeah, so these are some of our selected honored accomplishments. We definitely don't want to bore you with the whole page, but as you get to know us, you get to hear a little bit more about what our students do. So we have prestigious scholarships. We have J.K. Watson. We just actually, one of our student assistants and first-year students, Ben, just won that. So we're really excited for him. But we have some of our current students who are Watson Fellows, and Bill advises those students through that process to make sure that they are set and really a good candidate as well. We have Fulbright winners, Cyber Corps, Department of Defense. Those are the students who usually work with Jackie when it comes to cybersecurity things, and she knows what they need to do in order to win as well. So that's another part of the advising is if you tell us, hey, this is what I want to go for, we want to make sure that we set you up for that and we don't have you lose out on any of those little opportunities. We also have the Millennium Fellows. We've had over the top 100 top commencement awards in the last few years, Jefferson Award winners. We usually have students who participate in the Disney College program every semester, whether that's, while they're here as students, it's an internship, or they take a leave and they go do that program and come back. We have our Federal Reserve Challenge team, which has won many times over the years. It's kind of like the New York City's football team. And very popular with our economic students, Model UN awards. And then we have, of course, being in New York City, Radio City Rockettes, Brooklyn Nets dancers, New York Knicks dancers, Broadway TV stars. We've had 2 students who worked on the Nobel Peace Prize campaign. At the bottom, you'll see here, this is Sky. She is actually currently on tour on Kimberly Akimbo, but she was in New York City. It was great to watch her. And then at the top, we have our Rockettes, which some of them I've actually graduated with. One I had was my advisee, and actually one of those advisees, she's going to be in Just in Time, a Broadway show coming up, in addition to another honors student in that show. So we're really excited to see all of the accomplishments our students do and continue to support them even after they graduate.
So just a few frequently asked questions that students often have. So how many students are in the Honors College? We have about 750 students in New York City, and about 200 of those are freshmen incoming students. And then in Pleasantville, we have about 350 students, and around 100 of those are first year students. Do we accept AP, IB, and college credits? Yes, we do. For AP, it's scores over 4, except in the case of computer science, it's 3. And then for college credits and all that, just make sure the transcripts are sent in. Do I need to have a specific major to be in the Honors College? No, we accept every major. You can pursue whatever you want here at Pace and still be a part of the Honors College. And then do I have to live on the honors floor as an incoming student? Yes, you do. Again, that's 15 Beekman for New York City. And that is Alumni Hall in Pleasantville. Of course, you do not need to continue to stay on honors housing after you are a first year student. So you're a sophomore and on, you can choose other housing. But that freshman year, of course, unless you are a commuter. If you are a commuter, then you obviously don't need to live on an honors floor. And then, of course, these are some of the places that our graduates have gone on to work at. So, lots of different things. I, as an ex-teacher, really like having my students kind of do some shadowing and do some student work at the various schools around the city. I have a lot of teachers that are friends of mine. My wife is a teacher, and so I really love kind of introducing students in the School of Education into schools that are in the 5 boroughs, and getting them some real life experience as soon as possible, hopefully get a job at some of those schools that they end up teaching at. So that's kind of my part in all of this. But of course, whatever you are pursuing here, there's lots of different kind of possibilities for you and places that students have ended up.
So the sort of a day in the life of an honors college advisor. So when we log into our LinkedIn's and our social media and our phones, this is kind of what we see. This is an example. This is a real life of sort of my feed. When I was making this PowerPoint, I logged in, and this is just a snippet of a few, like an hour or two of what I was seeing from our current honors students and from our honors alumni. So this is kind of what we're used to. So you'll see a lot of great positions, VP at JP Morgan. You'll see students having won awards. We have students who get, and alumni, this happens to be an alum, get published. So this alum, actually, this is based off of their thesis. So they published more than one thing off of their thesis, their honors thesis. We have some other publications. We have students that get into master's programs, students that get into law school. I couldn't fit a few of the law school ones. We had a few students with full rides into law school, engineering at Cornell, working at the mayor's office in an internship, started new job, senior publicity at Simon & Schuster. This was in my my Instagram DMs of one of my students, basically former students, just reaching out to say thank you kind of randomly and saying that they were starting a job. And this is one of our former student aides, and Hiba, and she has a full ride to St. John's, which is where she's at, St. John's Law. And we recently found out that she is working at Bickford Court. She's going to be working with one of the judges. She's the only one I used a name for since I had kind of her permission. And you could see we have students that's from, I think, like an email to Flora, that they have got a position on Broadway. And so this is kind of what we see every day. And it's sort of hard for us to always track our student outcomes because it's so great every day of all of our alumni, current students, and everything else. So it's wonderful to see. So next steps, you're here now, and you may be a deposited student. If so, welcome to our family. Or you may be an admit student and thinking about depositing, you're not sure. So we kind of have a couple different groups here. So I'll go through what you can do. You can come on, if you haven't already, we highly recommend you come on campus, either through a Pacebound or a special interest tour. So in Pleasantville, we have a special interest tour for honors on March 28th. That's this Friday, I believe. And we have a Pacebound on April 5th. The special interest tours are just really to see the campus. You'll get a tour of the campus, and then you will also come and speak with the Honors College. You'll speak with Taylor and Nori, and Michelle and some honor students and kind of talk about that experience. The Pacebound that's the full encompassing experience. So if you had to choose one, I would choose Pacebound because other departments are going to be there, your schools are going to be there, financial aid, housing, it's everybody kind of showing you what PACE is about. And honors will have a session. Our session on both campuses is at 1 p.m. and goes till about 2:30. It's a full honor session, very different from this. We actually don't go through this information. It is a student-led session. Our students will talk about their experience. And then there's an optional campus tour and an optional tour of honors housing. So like I said, in Pleasantville, it's the special interest tour is this Friday, March 28th, or Pacebound on April 5th. In New York City, Pacebound is April 6th, so the very next day, or you could come to our tour on April 18th. If you happen to just have a campus tour booked at PACE, that's also great. We may or may not be available to talk to you at that time because this is, as one of my staff said, this is registration season. This is our busiest season, but you can definitely ask. We may have a student available to talk. If you haven't already submitted your deposit, we recommend you doing so. You have to do so by May 1st. We have a hard and fast deadline for the Honors College, and SANS does as well if you are a SANS student. So you have to submit both your tuition and housing deposit. The sooner you submit them, the better though. So if you actually submit your deposit before April 11th, that's about 3 weeks, you will receive an email on the 11th to start the registration process for fall classes. It will prompt you to start to pick an orientation date and will give you the honors questionnaire, which is what we use to help pick classes for you and with you. And that will also have what Flora was talking about, the mentee profile sheet. So you will actually be picking classes if you deposit and fill this out at the same time as our current students. So that is a huge priority. As Nori was saying, we give you priority registration. So highly recommend doing that. You'll get first pick of everything. But also to submit your housing deposit early because we also put students in rooms based on your deposit. So if you really, really want like a double or a triple within the suite style, then it goes usually by order of deposit. If you are in any college classes or you took them in a previous semester, do not have a bonfire of your college syllabi. Please save them. We're going to need them for transfer credits. If you already took APs just in your junior year, you didn't take any in your senior year and you've deposited, you can go ahead and send those AP scores or IB scores in to PACE, and we can start working on them basically in April. If you have senior year APs, you can wait. If you are a student who knows you're going to need accommodations or is thinking about accommodations, what that means is maybe academic accommodations like extra time, a note taker, or housing accommodations. You need a medical single. Maybe you have a ton of allergies like me, or you can only be with 1 or 2 other people for various reasons for whatever medical condition you might have. Or you're requesting a food accommodation, meaning a meal plan accommodation. Again, usually for students who have a lot of allergies and may not be able to take full advantage of the cafeteria. So if you're requesting any kind of accommodation, medical, academic, housing, or food, you can start prepping that paperwork because it is a long process. And the sooner you have all the paperwork in, the faster you'll get your accommodation. If you've already deposited, you can actually start talking to this Office of Student Accessibility Services, and we can also help with that. And if you are deposited or you are thinking about depositing, we have 2 mandatory next steps webinars. So the first one is on May 6th at 6 p.m. I think that's a Tuesday off the top of my head. That is going to go over the entire honors housing process with the director of the Office of Residential Life. So the man himself, is going to be there to walk you through the process, talk about how it's all going to be done, all the dates, paperwork, everything, get all your questions answered for housing. And on May 6th, we're also going to have the Office, Students Accessibility Services Office. They're going to come and talk about the accommodations process as well. That's also happens to be an honors alum. And the honor staff will be there as well. If you are commuting and you do not think you're going to have any accommodation at all, then you can skip May 6th. But if you are going to be dorming or need an accommodation, you need to attend May 6th. May 9th is the one for everybody. That is a Friday, again at 6 p.m. The honor staff will be running that one. And that is to talk about the full summer. What's orientation looking like? What's scheduling looking like? What's APs? What's University 101, Welcome Week? We go through the entire onboarding process with you so that you don't have any questions. The next step webinars are usually attended by both the student and the parent or guardian, because you all need this information. And we'll talk about how we partner with the parents during the summer as well. So Emma's now going to talk to you a little bit about orientation.
So once you make your deposit, you can go ahead and you can register for your orientation date. So feel free to take a picture of the screen. These are all the dates that are being offered across the summer. We do highly recommend that honors students attend the dates that have the asterisks. Those are our honors, our more honors specific orientations, although I will say we will be at every single session. So if you can't make it to those dates, that's totally fine. But if you can, I think it's a great experience because the majority of honor students do attend those dates, which allows you to meet more peers and just really get a nice community experience with the other honor students in advance of coming to welcome you. Orientation is really, really great. There's a lot of activities that happen in your groups with your orientation leaders. As for the honors orientation, that's when you get your schedule. As Jackie mentioned, you will fill out a questionnaire when you deposit, and the sooner you fill it out, the better. As your academic advisors, we will be compiling your schedule based off of a lot of information that you provide to us. And then you'll finally get to see your schedule at orientation, ask any questions. All of us are around. And it's really a great opportunity to be on campus, start building that community, and just learning about what's ahead, learning about resources, and start planning for your schedule.
And just to clarify, you only need to attend one date. So honors has 2 on each campus, but you only need to attend one. And the first 2, the housing process, the matching takes place right around July 1st off the top of my head. So New York City will have both orientations under their belt and Pleasantville will have one. So this is also where you can meet your potential roommates.
And this is our contact information, so feel free to screenshot this as well. You can email us, call us, or find us on Instagram. Our Instagram pages are really active and have a lot of great information. If you want, kind of a day in the life of what happens in the Honors College, and we have stories that you go back and see, videos of like the dorms and just kind of everything that's happening and events. So definitely follow us. It really gives you some more insight into what's going on, and don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have any questions.
If you're gonna email, I highly recommend putting what major you are or what majors you're considering, because we will make sure to forward that email to the advisor that has your cohort. So your answers to your questions might differ by cohort. Like SANS is very different than General Dyson. So we want to have as much specificity as possible to help you answer your questions. So any information you could give us, the better to kind of help answer. And now we want to know what questions you have. So if you went through this whole presentation, you were like, my question wasn't answered, I was holding till the end, please feel free to put it in the Q&A and our staff will answer them. And this is actually the student who just won the fellowship. So any questions, please feel free to put them in a chat. I'm going to stop sharing also so we can I can help assist with answering some questions. So the first one's actually a great question about internships, like how soon, when can you do that, all of that. So for the Honors College, we actually encourage students, they can find an internship their first semester, and we will help them with that. We usually ask them to wait a teeny bit though, because we want students to transition to college life, get a sense of what is it like to be in classes and kind of commute or dorm and get the full feel before adding another responsibility. Because a lot of our students are like, oh, I used to be in high school. I used to have classes from 7:30 in the morning till 3:30, 4 or 5 if I have practice. 5 days a week, I can do it. It kind of feels very different when you get to college though. So we want you to sort of get used to that schedule. And then once students have gotten used to it, then we start talking to students about that. For Ben, the student that was just on the screen who won that fellowship, he is a freshman student, as Mohini said, and he was talking to Mohini about that basically at the end of fall semester. So, and I think Nori mentioned this, it's our job as advisors to kind of figure out our students' hopes and dreams and what their interests are, and then kind of match them with those opportunities. And usually that starts second, the conversations are first semester, but the opportunity matching and stuff like that is for second semester or summer or the years beyond, depending on what the student wants. And so we'll help with that. Are there specific study abroad? They're coming on and off my screen. So are there specific study abroad classes just for honors? In the past, yes, I taught some. We'd have, as Bill said, there's a rotation, there's a menu of courses. It depends year to year. If a professor is like, hey, I want to do this course just for honor students, we can have it. It depends what they're in the mood for. So right now for this fall, I don't believe so, this coming fall, which is what we're gearing up for. But in the future semesters, most likely there's going to be, it changes, our course offerings change semester by semester. Nori, do you mind talking a little bit about like work-life balance with student athletes and that one? And
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, like anything else, I think athletes have the ability to kind of compartmentalize and handle things just as well, because they're used to it, right? Anybody who's played a sport knows that, you know, having your schedule down is the best way to handle being an athlete and also being in honors. But honors doesn't take away from extracurriculars. It actually enhances it. We have a lot of athletes who are in the honors program, and their passion for sports kind of bleeds into their passion for academics, which bleeds into their passion for other extracurricular activities. So I kind of say they're my go-getters or my born leaders, right? They do a little bit of everything, and it fits them because, you know, that's who they are. We try to work with athletics as much as possible for your schedule. So every semester I will reach out to athletics and ask them what your practice and game schedule is. So when we make your schedule together, we try to steer away from conflicts, right? And then we support you guys. I go to games all the times for my students, and I make sure that, you know, your wins, you know, I'm applauding you when you win, and I'm there to support you if it doesn't work out so well, because, you know, your honors is a family. So yeah.
there was another piece to that question, which I'll kind of answer in Nori if you feel I left anything out, which was about rooming with the team. So the coaches always ask for that, but our students don't necessarily want that. And I'll kind of explain why. We will do, what Nori and I will kind of do is if there is another like if it's honors football, that football, we'll try to put them together, honors swim to swim. So we'll look to see if there's any other students in the same sport or the same season, and put them in the same room. But why we don't have our honor student be kind of completely pulled out and live with their team is you spend a lot of time with your team. You're on the, you know, court with them, you're at practice with them. I'm just saying court, obviously choose your in the water, whatever it may be. And so you're in practice in the morning, you're playing games, you're on the buses with them. You also, because you may also be in classes. It's a lot of time together. And so our students actually like the time apart, because if you had a bad game or a bad meet or bad practice, whatever it may be, or there's any kind of drama, that follows you into the room. So if you're upset, like we just lost the game and you kind of want to detox and like calm down a little bit and do your schoolwork or play music or something, your teammates are now in the same room with you to discuss the game, and kind of, it's sort of, you don't escape it. And so our students have actually preferred not to have that, and to kind of step back and have also two different sets of friends, to have their athlete and their teammates, and then to have friends outside of their team as well, so that they have two different groups of people. Same thing for SANS. A lot of our SANS students like this kind of break from SANS, and to have their SANS friends, which is they do, you know, the rehearsals and the practices and the crew and all that, and then have their other group of people. But I don't know if I missed anything, Nori, in that.
I didn't, just to piggyback off of what you're saying, Jackie, I can only speak to Pleasantville and alumni, but I know my honor students who are athletes talk about the environment of the honors floor. The honor floor gives them a place to kind of sit and have other students who are in the same academic space as them. So when they want to study at like 10 o'clock at night, they're not worried about loud music or somebody running through the hallways, or just where they're all intentional about what they're doing as far as academics goes. And people share that on that floor. They also find, for my nursing students, there are other nursing friends who they can go and study with at any time. So not being on another floor, being on the honor floor, they actually see it as a perk, as opposed to just being on any other floor with another athlete in their sport.
A question, I'm skimming through some that already have been answered, but in case you missed it, and I think some are important. There was a question about, like, so what is this April 11th form? Like, do we do it? Does the advisor do it? So on April 11th, you'll get an email from me, right after, if you've deposited after school ends for the day, and it is going to ask you to read through a lot of information. You'll probably want to read it 2 or 3 times, and it's going to show you all of the different course offerings we have in honors and outside. And it's basically asking you for your preferences. Which of these learning communities do you like? Rank them. Which of these honors courses sound interesting to you? Rank them. Which of these non-honors courses sound interesting to you? Rank them. And then tell us about yourself. What are your interests? What are your hobbies? How long is your commute? It's a whole bunch of information about you. And we take that as your academic advisor, and we look at that and we build a schedule with what you need to take. We know what you need for your major. And then we look at your interests. What are you interested in? You need an honors learning community. We want to put you in an honors learning community that you're interested in. And so we'll figure out what the best fit is. We want to put you in honors classes that you like. So we'll take all of the information you gave us, and you may not know much. You may be like, I'm all over the place. Ben, the student we were just talking about, was one of those students. And so we'll be like, all right, what careers are you thinking? What interests do you have? And we may have you try on, like, as if it's an outfit, some classes, and figure out what's the best fit. So for you, it's just answering about yourself. What are you into? What do you like? Which of these sound cool? And then for us as the advisor, we take that and we put it together with what we know you need for your major, and we make a schedule for you. And then we send that schedule to you, and you let us know if it looks good. And we take in account for your AP scores and everything else. And that's how we kind of build a schedule. And once your APs come in July, we make changes too. So that was to answer that. There was a couple questions about SANS. I will say honors and SANS. Flora answered it. So if you can go back, you could see they work together. And it's really great to be honor SANS. We have a lot of honor students who are in SANS, smart and talented. And the SANS schedule is hard with practices and rehearsals and all of that, and singing lessons. And what's great is because honors has first choice of classes, you have, even though you have maybe a tight packed SANS schedule, you usually get first pick of everything. So you can make everything work. And that's Flora's job too, to sit down with you and make that work. And if you have other interests, to kind of manage all of that. I saw study abroad. There's various study abroad opportunities. Some you can use your scholarship for, some you can't, and we go over all of that. It's early right now for that. Is there anything else? I felt like there was something super important that I was skimming that I wanted to go over. Anything from the team that you feel like I should say out loud?
I just answered one about learning communities. Learning communities are not additional classes. For most for most majors, your learning community fulfills something within your curriculum already, if not an open elective or an AOK, but they're not additional classes. As Bill's mentioned before, there are 2 classes that share a common interest, and it's not like a club. So I just wanted to mention that before. Yeah.
Well, I know one I saw, and thank you, Nori. There was a question somewhere in there about medical single. Can you get a single without having a medical accommodation? At Pace, for every single basic, almost every single level, for freshman, sophomore, and above, our singles, we're so used to calling them medical singles. Our singles are basically only medical singles. We have very few singles on campus. And so the only way to get a single is through the accommodations process, which we will go over, like I said, on May 6th, and both the accommodations team will go over it and housing will go over it. And again, it's if you seriously have a medical condition that warrants being in a room by yourself. You may have your accommodation may be reviewed, and they may say that you can only have one other roommate, so you may be put in a double. So there's various things that might come back. It depends on your medical condition and your documentation. But yes, the only way to get a single at Pace is through a medical accommodation. So I think that was one of the big ones for that. And I don't think there's anything else that's really... the suites, the beds in the suites cannot be debunked. How they're set up, there's all different styles. Every suite in both alumni and in 15 Beekman are slightly different. Depends on where they are in the building, and they are as you see them. We have on, at least for New York City, because we have more of a variety in our styles, there is on our Instagram, it says like 15 Beekman. It's a highlight. You can see a bunch of the different rooms, and a bunch of our students have done day in the life videos. We have a video coming out probably in mid to late April about honors suite life. And so we'll be talking about that, but they're usually combinations. Our suites are combinations of doubles, triples, and quads. Quads being the least amount. On both campuses, for our freshmen, it is only suite style for our honor students. And we poll our honor students. We polled them at the end of last year to see what they thought about the honors housing, and they loved it. That was our highest retention rate we've basically ever had. They all wanted to stay and loved the experience, and they found it was really nice to have that family within their room, and it had a bunch of different personalities. And so if you didn't mesh with your roommate, maybe you mesh with somebody else down the hall. And most of the suites have 2 bathrooms, deconstructed and things like that. So they're really nice, and they're for New York City, at least, they're brand new. Alumni is also still, I've slept in alumni myself for a night, so it's also nice.
The good thing about the honors floors is that you get an honors student as your honors RA. So, you know, if you have any questions about honors and such like that, you can go to them for any help as well.
All right, I think that was all of the questions. If you you will be getting another reminder email from me like on April 2nd if you haven't deposited, with some more information about some of the events. And if, like I said, if you deposit before April 11th, we will slot you in to get that first email from me and start your schedule. If you deposit April 12th, 13, 14, 15, any day up till May 1st, you'll get the email from me just basically a day or 2 after you deposit, and we will start scheduling you. And then May 1st, if you deposit right at the deadline, then you will get it on May 1st. But we will start scheduling our students as early as we get those first questionnaires. There was a last minute question, but do the suites for honors have bunk beds? Depends on the suite, but yes, we do have bunks on most of our suite styles. So if you have any additional questions, I think I saw Mohini putting some of our emails in the chat. You can also message our general emails, which Emma had read, the honors_NYC@pace.edu or honors_PLV, and we'll get you to the right person. But thank you so much for giving us about an hour, well, about almost an hour and a half of your time. And we hope to see you on campus. And if not, if you're not coming for PACE Bound Special Interest Tour, hopefully at orientation. So thank you all. Have a great night. Bye.